Sport touring is about to get a whole lot sportier with the introduction of the 2016 BMW S1000 XR. With an engine lifted straight from the S1000R naked bike, the XR is aimed squarely at the current king of the do-it-all bike class, the Ducati Multistrada. The S1000 XR is not a replacement for the all-conquering GS. This is a brand new model from the German giant aimed primarily at road riders who venture onto the dirt only occasionally. It's a road bike first and foremost, and a very quick one at that. 160 horsepower and 83 foot-pounds of torque are big numbers in anyone's language, although BMW has manufactured in a series of different engine modes, traction control and ABS to help you tame this sophisticated beast. Think of it as a UFC fighter in a pinstripe suit. There's also cruise control, and if you selected a purchase, the BMW Gear Shift Assist Pro feature, making this one of the highest spec bikes on the road today. But enough of the specs, we ventured to Canada to see if all these numbers stack up to a great machine.
Okay, so we've just spent a day riding BMW's fantastic new S1000 XR. This is the latest edition of four-cylinder motorcycle from BMW. This takes the same engine as the S1000R naked bike, and that draws its heritage from the all-conquering S1000RR. So a lot of S's, a lot of thousands. Now, we've been riding the premium package across today, and that gets you amazing things like the Gear Shift Assist Pro, which is just so cool. Like not having to use the clutch sounds lazy, but once you get into it, is just so cool. It's also got stuff like heated hand grips, different riding modes. You've got your GPS mount as well, but it's also got the dynamic damping adjustment, which means it basically adjusts your suspension on the fly. Now, unless you've ridden something like that, it can be a little bit of a strange sensation. But man, this thing just works so well. Like the balance of this bike is incredible. Like we spent 8 hours of riding today, and it was torrential rain the entire time. I mean, you had probably the first half an hour you were dry, the rest of the time you were completely soaking wet. So obviously having a motorcycle that's well balanced and is easy to ride in corners is imperative in those kind of conditions. And we did a fair bit of off-road for something that's essentially a road bike. This is basically BMW's version of a multistrada. Ducati came out and sort of changed the game slightly with the sport touring market a few years ago, and BMW have really stepped up to the plate with this version. Now, that engine, we kind of know how good that engine is. It's, as I say, it's a superbike. It's a superbike engine essentially. Draws its heritage from back about 2010, and it's just a monster of a thing. 160 horsepower or so. I mean, it's got. It doesn't stop the mosquitoes sort of hanging around, but yeah, it's so quick. I mean, you don't need any more than 160 horsepower for that. Plenty of torque too. Like the way this thing pulls from fifth gear, even when you're really down low on the rev range, just tracks on nicely and just does it real easy, real smooth. The fueling on these bikes is brilliant, as you'd sort of expect from a premium product. This bike costs a bit over 18 grand in this spec. You can look at it in, I guess, if you were to buy the standard bike, which doesn't have the electronic suspension, doesn't have the Gear Shift Pro, all that sort of stuff, you're looking about 16 and a half. But it's a fantastic machine. I very much doubt you're going to see a lot of these bikes that haven't been spec'd up, because once you get all the bits on them, it makes it really worth your while. Because if you then go and buy yourself a standard bike and you want to then put all that other stuff on, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more in the process. So yeah, with this kind of bike, where you're going to be looking at all the up-spec bits on it, goes so well. It's got the Brembo brakes on it, the electronic suspension. You know, you really are going to have a great time on this thing, and it's going to bring in, I think you're going to find a lot of people that don't use GSs for what they're originally intended, which is to really go off-road and explore the world. I think you're going to see a lot of guys slowly starting to switch over. They're going to say, oh, maybe I don't need that GS anymore. I don't need to have the big tyres, the big knobby tyres and all that kind of stuff. And the only real, I suppose, complaint I have with the bike, and it's only a small one, is the engine is quite vibey, and it's actually a bit vibey, a bit more vibey than what I remember from an S1000R road bike. About 5 grand at 5,000 RPM, 6 gear, do start to get a bit of a numb hand, and that was a bit surprising. But aside from that, I know it's a small thing, it really is, but I can't think of much else that I don't like about it. The wind protection's great. It's a really small screen, but the way the screen is angled is great. Like it's easily adjustable. It's a beautiful bike, and yeah, I think once you spec up the whole thing and put all the goods on it, it's going to be great. And I can't wait to stick this up against a multi-strider. It's going to be a great test. But yeah, BMW got to give you a golf clap on this one. This is a great bike.